It is Sound Advice with audiologist Doug Leonard from ASI, Audiological Services of Iowa. It's the greatest month of the year, Doug.
Well, September is my birthday month, but
okay.
But next to that, I think October is pretty good.
So the second greatest month of the year. October is, of course, Audiology Awareness Month. So we thought we'd just start off by talking about what is an audiologist. So in your terms, how do you see yourself?
Well, I think audiologists are folks that help people deal with communication problems, and it can take a lot of different forms. It might be, working with adults, it might be working with children, it might be doing diagnostic evaluations, and the rehab and the fitting of hearing aids is what I mainly do. It can also be cochlear implant programming. It can be intraoperative monitoring, which is kind of a niche field of audiology. It can be industrial audiology, so working with companies to do hearing screenings for their employees to make sure that they're not damaging their hearing by working in a loud environment. So a wide variety of things, mainly centered around hearing loss, evaluation, and treatment.
And the end goal is to have better communication and better hearing. And that, of course, comes with all of the evaluations that you do as an audiologist. So there's many ones that you do. Can you kind of give us a rundown of what those are?
Everybody's familiar with pure tone audiometry. You put headphones on, you sit in a booth, you raise your hand when you hear a beeping sound.
First thing I think of when I think of an audiologist.
And that's what, most people, when I ask them when was the last time they had an evaluation, it is in grade school. People are familiar with that. We also do a lot of more in-depth evaluation. One of the tests that we do is called a speech and noise testing, or a quick SIN is what it's called. And that's an evaluation where people are given sentences with background noise. And that is challenging. Everybody's biggest complaint, myself included, with normal hearing, when I'm in a noisy environment, I don't hear very well. So doing an evaluation like that shows us the person's capability. Hearing loss and hearing trouble in noisy environments can come from auditory processing issues, or it can come from sensory deficit, meaning they have a hearing loss, and we're going to try to restore that with hearing aids. But we have to do that whole diagnostic eval to understand what they need best, what type of equipment, and to give them realistic expectations too.
You also do something called the cognitive view, which is testing for early signs of dementia or decline.
Well, it's a cognitive screening test. Audiologists are not cognitive or neurologists, but there is a lot of working memory that's involved in communication issues. If we're in that challenging environment with background noise, especially if we're having issues with our cognitive function and our memory, we're not able to always fill in the blanks. When people are saying things, we don't quite hear what they say. A lot of times someone that has working memory issues can't go back on that conversation and think, oh, what was that word that person said, where their brain would fill in the blank. So cognitive screening is another arrow in the quiver that folks can do. Rehabilitation. We also work with a company called LACE, which is listening and communication enhancement, and that's auditory rehabilitation.
Doug, if somebody wants to set up a screening, how do they do that?
Yeah, we'd love to hear from John. Number here in Carroll, 792-5933.
Give them a call. And again, they will go way more in depth than just saying, yes, you have an issue. They'll go into reasons why you're having issues and where you're having issues. So it's much more than just an evaluation. It's, again, a complete look at your communication issues with Audiological Services of Iowa.